I've always had this rule. If it's a weeknight and I have work the next day, I stay home. But that Thursday, I broke it. My friend Maya was celebrating a job promotion and practically begged me to come. It wasn't even a party, just six of us, some wine, music, and casual conversation on her apartment balcony. Honestly, it was nice. The kind of night that feels too rare once you hit your late 20s. Mia lived in a quiet suburb about 20 minutes from my place. It's one of those neighborhoods with wide sidewalks, trimmed hedges, and just enough streetlights to feel safe, at least during the day. By the time I left, it was almost 1:30 a.m. The streets were completely still. I remember how the silence made every little sound sharper. My heels tapping the pavement, leaves rustling faintly in the wind, and the buzz of the one streetlight I decided to wait under. I pulled out my phone and ordered an Uber. The app said it would take about 7 minutes. Not too bad, I thought. I leaned against the pole of the streetlight and tried to shake off the creeping chill. It wasn't just the night air. It was that particular kind of stillness that makes you feel like you're being watched, even when you're alone. There wasn't a single car on the road, just rows of parked vehicles and houses with darkened windows. Occasionally, a porch light would flicker to life from a motion sensor, then go dark again. I tried to distract myself by scrolling through my messages, but my attention kept drifting. I glanced at the time again. 8 minutes had passed now. The app still said, arriving in 2. I didn't realize how long I'd been alone until my phone battery dipped below 10%. And suddenly I felt very, very aware of where I was. A quiet, unfamiliar street with no one around and no backup plan if my ride didn't show. I shifted my weight from one foot to the other and rubbed my arms for warmth. Just then, I noticed a pair of headlights turning slowly onto the street from the far end. A black sedan creeping forward, not fast, not erratic, just slow and deliberate, like it wasn't in any hurry. I assumed it was my Uber. The black sedan rolled slowly to the curb, headlights dimming slightly as it came to a stop in front of me. I instinctively stepped closer, assuming it was my ride finally arriving. At that hour, the silence on the street made every sound more pronounced. The engine idling, the faint rustle of trees, even the buzz of a distant porch light flickering off behind me. I checked my phone screen again. Still said, arriving in 2 minutes, and the license plate listed wasn't even close to what I saw in the sedan. I squinted, double-checked, hoping maybe I'd read it wrong. But no, it definitely didn't match. The car had no Uber sticker on the windshield either. Still, I hovered near the back passenger door, uncertain. Maybe the app glitched, maybe the driver switched vehicles. I knew it sounded unlikely, but it was late, I was tired, and that half second of self-doubt crept in. I leaned slightly toward the window. The driver didn't look at me. He kept staring straight ahead with both hands on the steering wheel. No greeting, no rolled down window. No, "Hey, are you Emily?" So I asked first. "Are you my Uber?" He barely turned his head. "Yeah, get in," he said, flat and expressionless. That voice. It didn't sound like someone confirming a pickup. It sounded like someone giving a command. My skin prickled. I hesitated, then glanced at my app one more time. My actual Uber was still on the map, now only 1 block away and still moving. I felt a little jolt of clarity. "I think I'll wait for the one I ordered," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. He didn't argue. Instead, he reached across the front seat and popped the back door open from inside. The door creaked slowly outward like an invitation. It didn't feel like an accident. "Come on," he said again, more forcefully. "It's late, just get in." There was something in his tone, controlled, slightly impatient, that flipped a switch in me. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't some harmless mistake. I took 2 full steps backward. "No, thank you," I said, louder now. "I'm not getting in your car." Still, he didn't drive away. He simply shifted the car slightly forward and stopped again, just ahead of me, watching, waiting. The back door still open. That's when I turned and walked fast in the opposite direction, my heart pounding in my throat. Then I heard it, the slow crunch of tires behind me. He was following. I didn't run, not at first. I knew that if I bolted, it might escalate things. Instead, I kept my pace steady, fast but controlled, eyes locked on the sidewalk ahead, while listening intently to the soft hum of the engine just behind me. My phone was in my hand, but my fingers felt too stiff to unlock it quickly. Every second felt stretched thin. The sedan crept along the curb, never accelerating, never pulling up beside me, just tailing me like a shadow. I glanced back once and saw the man still staring forward, one hand on the wheel, the other resting casually on the passenger seat like he had all the time in the world. I spotted a small traffic circle at the next block and decided to cut through it. There were no open businesses around, just dark homes and an unlit park on the other side. I didn't know where I was going exactly, I just needed to stay visible, stay moving. Finally, with my hands trembling, I managed to unlock my phone and refresh the Uber app. My actual driver had arrived, and he was parked 1 block behind me, just around the corner from where I'd originally been waiting. Panic twisted into something sharp and urgent. I turned suddenly, cutting left down a narrower residential street, hoping to break the man's line of sight. I heard the car pause, then accelerate just slightly as it tried to follow. That was it. I ran. My shoes slapped the pavement hard, breath tearing through my chest as I rounded the corner and saw the real Uber. White Toyota Prius, hazard lights on, parked exactly where the map showed. I sprinted toward it and waved frantically. The driver, a man probably in his 50s, looked up from his phone, surprised. "You Emily?" he asked through a slightly cracked window. Yes, please, can I get in right now?" I blurted. He nodded, unlocked the doors, and I threw myself into the back seat, slamming it shut behind me. As we pulled away, I looked back through the rear window and saw the black sedan farther down the road, now stopped under a tree. The headlights were off. The driver never followed. He didn't need to. He'd already made his point. I reported the incident through the Uber app and filed a police report the next day. They said they'd look into it, but I never heard anything back. To this day, I still think about how close it came to going differently, how easily I could have doubted my instinct just a second longer, and how many people didn't get that second. I've worked security for over 7 years now, mostly low-key jobs, office buildings, parking lots, warehouse patrols, but about 6 months ago, I took a gig with the city as an overnight guard for one of our public parks. Sounds weird, I know. Most people assume parks close at sunset, but this one, Brook Hill Park, is open 24/7. For night joggers, they said. Though in all my shifts, I've never seen anyone jogging past 10 p.m. The park's not huge, but it's got these winding trails, a duck pond, and a small playground near the west end. My job's simple. Walk the grounds every hour, check for vandalism, and call it in if I see anything weird. The city didn't want us to engage, just observe and report. Most nights are boring. I bring a thermos of coffee, do my rounds, maybe watch Netflix on my phone while parked near the maintenance shed. But a few weeks ago, something happened that still gives me chills every time I think about it. It was around 2:10 a.m., a Thursday. The temperature had dropped pretty low and the whole park was quiet. Just the wind pushing leaves across the pavement. I was doing my second walkthrough when I saw a small figure sitting alone on a bench by the playground. At first, I thought it was just a trick of the light. But no, there was definitely someone there. A kid, maybe 8 or 9 years old, just sitting. I stood there for a second, unsure what to do. Kids that age aren't supposed to be out at that hour, especially not alone in a park. I called out, "Hey, you okay?" No response. The kid didn't move, just kept staring straight ahead like I wasn't even there. I took a few steps closer, staying cautious. "You lost?" I asked, louder this time. Still nothing. That's when I noticed how pale the kid's face looked under the dim yellow light, and how they weren't blinking. I felt this tight feeling in my chest. Something was off. I pulled out my flashlight and shined it toward the bench. That's when the kid stood up, suddenly, like they'd been waiting for me to move first. Then they bolted, not toward the parking lot, not toward the street, but straight into the trees behind the playground. And I swear, just for a second, I saw something else move in there too. Something bigger, keeping its distance. I stood frozen for a few seconds, flashlight aimed into the trees. I could hear my own breath louder than anything else. The branches swayed just slightly, like something had brushed past them, something alive. I called out again, not yelling, but loud enough to be heard. "Hey, it's okay. I'm with park security. I'm not here to get you in trouble." Nothing. I started walking toward the tree line, slowly. Each step felt heavier than it should have, like the ground itself didn't want me moving forward. About 10 feet in, I found something caught on a branch, part of a red hoodie, torn at the shoulder, same color as the one the kid had been wearing. I scanned the ground with my light. No footprints, just matted leaves and dirt. But I could feel something. I don't know how else to put it. It felt like being watched, but from too many angles at once. Like whatever was out there wasn't standing in front of me. It was all around me. Then I heard it, a faint shuffle off to my right, followed by a short, sharp breath. Not an animal. I know what deer or raccoons sound like. This was a person trying to move without being heard. I backed out of the woods immediately, not turning my back until I hit the paved path. I radioed it in, told dispatch there might be an unaccompanied child hiding in the park, potentially in danger. They said they'd alert police and have a unit on the way. ETA, 25 minutes. I stood there for a while, flashlight scanning the trees, every nerve on edge. Then, just as I started to calm down, I heard rapid footsteps slapping against pavement behind me. I turned fast and caught a glimpse of someone, an adult this time, jogging in the opposite direction. Baggy hoodie, dark jeans, heavy boots, no flashlight, no phone light. Definitely not another guard. "Hey!" I shouted. "Hold up!" No reaction. I ran after him, but when I rounded the corner near the old tool shed, he was gone. Just gone. No vehicles nearby, no place to hide. That's when I saw it. Lying right in the middle of the path was a walkie-talkie. Not mine. It was black, older, scratched up. I picked it up, and the second I did, it clicked. A burst of static, then silence, then a voice, low, muffled, like someone speaking just barely into the mic. "He's close now." I stood there holding the walkie-talkie, every hair on my body standing up. The voice I'd heard, it wasn't a mistake. Someone was using this channel, someone nearby. I tried responding. "Who is this? Do you need help?" No reply, just a low hiss of static. I scanned the tree line again, slowly backing toward my vehicle, parked near the East Trail entrance. My instincts were screaming now. This wasn't just a lost kid or a homeless guy looking for shelter. Someone was playing a game. 10 minutes later, the police finally showed up. Just one cruiser, 2 officers. I gave them the short version. The kid on the bench, running into the trees, the second person I saw. In the walkie-talkie with the voice. One of the officers took it from me, raised it to his ear. "You didn't imagine this," he said quietly. "This thing's still warm. Somebody's been using it tonight." They did a slow sweep of the area while I waited by the car. I couldn't stop thinking about the way the kid had moved. Not scared, not panicked. Deliberate. Like they weren't running away, but leading me in. About 20 minutes later, one of the officers came back with something in his hand. A plastic bag. Inside was another walkie-talkie, same make and model as the one I'd found, taped underneath the park bench where the kid had been sitting. It hadn't fallen, it had been planted. They called in backup after that. I stayed to give a full report, and around 5 a.m., they found a small camp tucked behind the tree line, maybe 50 yards in. Empty food wrappers, torn up blankets, and a pile of kids' clothes, some new, some old. And something else, a camera, motion sensitive, pointed directly at the playground. The officers didn't tell me much after that, just that the equipment had likely been there for weeks. Someone had been watching the park, tracking who came in, who lingered, who was alone. The kid I saw? The more I thought about it, the more I started to believe it wasn't a child at all, just someone small enough to play the part, a decoy, a lure. Whatever they were doing, it was methodical, and I almost followed them straight into it. The city reassigned me after that. I don't blame them. Now I work days, mostly traffic lots and school zones. Every once in a while, I still hear the soft static of a walkie in my head. And sometimes, if I'm near a park after dark, I'll glance at a bench and wonder if someone's already sitting there, just waiting.